I am Elena, and I want to tell you about my life, my journey of twists and turns, heartbreaks and joys, unexpected challenges, and surprising endings. I will speak simply, as if I were sharing my most heartfelt memories with a dear friend over a long, candlelit evening. I was born in a small, quiet town by the sea, where the waves whispered secrets to those who would listen. My childhood was simple. I remember the salty air, the feel of warm sand under my feet, and the bright sky that stretched out like a promise. Although we did not have much, my family was full of love. My mother, gentle and strong, always said that life was like the ocean, a mixture of calm and storm. My father worked hard every day, and even when times were difficult, there was an unspoken hope that tomorrow would be better. As I grew older, I discovered that the world was much larger than the little town I called home. School was my window to this vast world. I loved my teachers, who encouraged me to ask questions and to dream beyond the horizon. I wasn't the most outspoken child, but I listened deeply. I filled countless notebooks with my thoughts, poems, and sketches of the sun, the sea, and the people I encountered. In those days, I believed that every story had a beginning, a middle, and a hopeful ending. When I was 16, life began to show me its unpredictable nature. I met Daniel, a boy from a neighboring town who had a smile that lit up dark rooms. Our friendship started slowly. We shared shy glances in the school corridor, a kind word during lunchtime, and eventually, we spent long afternoons together under the old willow tree by the edge of the town. Daniel was gentle, curious, and full of dreams just like me. I thought that our lives would intertwine beautifully, like the threads of a finely woven tapestry. We promised each other that no matter where life took us, we would always return to that tree, to the place where our hearts felt at home. But as I ventured further into my teenage years, ambition called me away. I left for the city to attend college, fueled by my hunger for knowledge and the desire to experience the world outside our humble town. The city was vast and overwhelming, a maze of towering buildings, endless streets, and voices that blended into a constant hum. I felt lost at first, but I knew that change was the only way to grow. In the city, I studied literature and art. I wrote essays and painted canvases, all the while nurturing the hope that my future would be radiant. During these college years, I lost touch with Daniel. Life had a way of taking us on different paths. Time passed, and I soon found myself immersed in a whirlwind of new friendships, late-night study sessions, and dreams that grew bigger with every sunrise. I experienced both the thrill of first love and the sadness of seeing close friends drift apart. I learned that love sometimes is tender and sometimes painful. Every moment taught me an important truth. Life is not a straight path, but a labyrinth full of unexpected turns. One cool autumn day, when the leaves turned a brilliant shade of red and gold, I met someone who would change my life again. His name was Michael. I met him in a small coffee shop tucked away in one of the city's narrow streets. Michael was different from anyone I had ever known. He had kind eyes that reflected hidden stories and a quiet confidence that made you feel safe. We talked for hours about art, literature, and the beauty of everyday life. It was as if the universe had conspired to bring our souls together in a shared moment of understanding. Our love blossomed like a delicate flower, nourished by deep conversations, laughter, and the comfort of shared silence. Michael was my rock during the most challenging times in college, when self-doubt crept into my thoughts. He supported me through every late-night assignment and cheered me on when I presented my art to a skeptical crowd. Our connection was raw, honest, and full of promises. I began to believe that perhaps my life was finally taking the shape I had once imagined beneath that willow tree by the sea. Yet, life has a way of reminding us that nothing remains static. Just as I felt everything was perfect, the fabric of my new world began to tear. I had started my career as an art teacher at a small school in the city. I was excited to share my love for art and literature with my students. But the demands of my job, the pressure of supporting my family back home, and the challenges of keeping up with bills began to weigh on me. The joy I once felt started to fade into a daily struggle. There were moments when I would look out my classroom window and remember the gentle lull of the waves, wishing that I could escape the relentless pace of the city. As the years passed, the pressures mounted. Michael and I tried to keep our love alight, but our differences began to surface. Michael wanted to travel the world and pursue new adventures, while I felt tethered to the responsibilities I had built in the city. Our discussions grew heavier, filled with unspoken resentments and painful silences. The love that once burned brightly seemed to wane, leaving us both in a state of confusion and sorrow. I began to fear that my heart, once so full of hope, was slowly closing off to new possibilities. Then came the twist I never saw coming. One rainy evening, as I sat alone in my small apartment staring at old photographs, I received a letter that would upend everything I thought I knew about my past and ignite a spark of hope for a future I had almost given up on. The letter was from a stranger. At first, I hesitated to open it, but something deep inside urged me to do so. It was a letter from a woman claiming to be my long-lost sister, someone I had never known existed. Shock, confusion, and a strange sense of excitement washed over me. I had always believed my family was complete, yet this mysterious letter challenged that belief. The woman introduced herself as Isabella. She explained that shortly after I was born, circumstances forced our family to make a difficult decision that would separate us. Isabella had been raised by relatives in another town, and only now had she discovered the truth about her origins. As I read her every word, memories I had long forgotten began to surface, the soft lullabies of my childhood, snippets of conversations with a stranger who smelled of jasmine and sea breeze. The realization that I was not alone in this world, that another life had been woven in parallel with mine, filled me with renewed vigor. I immediately reached out to her. Our first conversation was filled with tears, laughter, and the overwhelming feeling that we were finally reconnecting pieces of a missing puzzle. My heart, already heavy from the strains of my past love and the burdens of my present life, began to feel lighter with Isabella in it. She became my confidant, the one who understood my pain and my dreams. Over the next few months, as I reconnected with my long-lost sister, I started to see my life from a new perspective. The pressures of my daily struggles no longer felt as suffocating. I began to rediscover the creative spark that had once driven me, and I allowed myself to hope once again for a fulfilling, happy future. Then came another unexpected twist. Michael, the love I thought I had lost along the way, reappeared in my life. I had not thought of him for years until one dreary day when I received an invitation to an old friend's art exhibition. There, in the midst of familiar faces and warm memories, I saw Michael. He had changed, grown older, and his eyes held a depth of experience I had not noticed before. Our meeting was awkward at first, filled with words left unspoken from our past. But as the evening went on, we found ourselves talking about our separate journeys, the struggles, the heartaches, and the lessons learned along the way. Michael told me how his own life had taken wild turns. He had traveled far, experienced love and loss, and had been searching for something he could not name. I listened with an open heart, realizing that sometimes life's conflicting paths can lead us back to where we began, transformed by our experiences. As we talked, we discovered that while our lives had once split apart, a quiet, enduring thread still connected us. Our reunion was not a rekindling of the past, but rather an acknowledgement of the growth we had both undergone. Our conversation reminded me that sometimes the person who once loved you can return, not to reclaim what was lost, but to be a part of the new chapter of your life as a reborn soul. Inspired by these encounters, I began to balance the different pieces of my life. I reconnected with my art, started new projects at the school, and spent long evenings with Isabella, rediscovering our family history and creating fresh memories together. Michael, too, became an important part of my life once again, not as the man I once knew, but as a friend who understood the bittersweet nature of change and growth. Over time, my past heartbreaks and struggles transformed into lessons that fueled my determination to live fully and authentically. I began to tell my story not just through words, but through my paintings and writings. I organized small local exhibitions where I shared the journey of my life, the pain, the beauty, and the unexpected twists that led me to a place of renewal. One such exhibition became a turning point. The community embraced my work. People were moved by the raw honesty in my art. An old professor, who had once been the only one to see potential in my scribbled sketches, approached me and explained how my work had transformed his outlook on life. It was then I realized that my story had power, the power to inspire others to seek out hope, to embrace change, and to understand that even the darkest moments can lead to brilliant dawns. As I look back now, I see that my life has been a mosaic of heartbreak and healing, of unexpected loss and joyful rediscovery. Every twist and turn, every moment of pain, every joyful reunion has led me to become the person I am today. I have learned that life is never linear. At times, it feels like a battle with endless storms, yet after every storm, the sun shines a little brighter. I stand here today as a living testament to the resilience of the human heart, the importance of never giving up on hope, and the beauty of unexpected moments that change everything. There is beauty in every scar and grace in every fall. I once felt lost at the crossroads of life, uncertain of where to go. But as my journey unfolded, I learned that every challenge was an opportunity to grow, every heartbreak a chance to begin anew. I discovered that true love does not always come as we expect. Sometimes it arrives quietly, as a strong friendship or the reconnection with a long-lost family member who fills a void we never knew existed. I learned that forgiveness, both of others and of oneself, is the key to unlocking the happiness hidden within. Today, I continue to work as an art teacher, guiding young minds to discover their creative potential. I create art that speaks of hope, that tells the story of a woman who refused to let life's challenges define her. I still keep in touch with Michael, who remains a dear friend and occasional collaborator, and my sister Isabella has become my closest confidant. A reminder that family is not only about blood, but about the bonds we choose to nurture. I have learned to embrace every part of my journey, understanding that each chapter, no matter how painful or joyful, was essential in leading me to this moment of contentment. And yet, life has one more twist that I never expected. Just as I began to believe that my past was firmly behind me, I discovered a secret tucked away in an old diary of my late mother. As I read her handwritten entries, I learned that she had once been in love with a man whose identity she never revealed. It turned out that this man was none other than her long-lost friend, a poet who had disappeared mysteriously many years ago. My mother had written about the hope and passion they once shared, a love that had influenced her gentle way of guiding me through life. Although I never knew him, His story allowed me to understand my mother on a deeper level. It was as if through these pages, a new legacy of love emerged, a reminder that every life is connected by threads of emotion, mystery, and beautiful chance encounters. This discovery sparked within me a desire to complete the story my mother had left behind. I began researching her past, retracing her steps through old letters and photographs. This journey led me to surprising revelations about our families and the hidden ties that bound us to strangers who had once been dear friends. I realized that the twist in my own life was not isolated, but part of a tapestry that included many lives, each with its own story of love and loss. In embracing my mother's secret, I embraced a new understanding that we all are part of a grand, interconnected story, a narrative that we each write one page at a time. Now, as I share my story with you, I hope you feel the pulse of a life that has known both deep sorrow and radiant joy. I am not the same person I once was. I have learned that every setback, every twist of fate, and every unexpected reunion has shaped me into a stronger, wiser, and kinder soul. The road that seemed endless and difficult now shines with the light of all the moments that taught me to persevere. My journey has been long and sometimes painful, but it also brims with gratitude, laughter, friendship, and love. I stand before you today with a heart that has learned to forgive, to hope, and to treasure every new day. My life is a work in progress, a living canvas painted with the bold strokes of struggle and the gentle hues of healing. I invite you, dear listener, to see in my story a reflection of your own potential for resilience and the unexpected beauty that lies just beyond the horizon. In the end, I discovered that the most important lesson in life is that every chapter, no matter how hard it may seem, prepares us for the next. We may lose parts of ourselves along the way, only to find them again in places we never imagined. Our hearts may break, but they also mend, and sometimes the pieces come back together in ways that are more beautiful and surprising than we ever dreamed. Thank you for walking with me through the highs and lows of my life. I hope that my journey inspires you to embrace your own twists and turns, to cherish the unexpected reunions, and to keep hope alive no matter how challenging the road may seem. Remember, every ending is simply a doorway to a new beginning, waiting for you to step through.